I know that during the summer, it seems like content kind of slows down. People go on vacation, people go to cottages, people are they're outside more, so they're not as plugged in. So there may not be as much content as you're looking for if you're one of those people who needs, a distraction from your thoughts more often, like me, in the form of podcasts. So if you are one of those people, check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Bravo and Botox. I will be posting weekly bonus episodes throughout the summer and doing some special extras, in preparation for some new shows that are coming back, like Ladies of London and things like that. So check it out and enjoy today's episode. Welcome to the Bravo Papers, a safe space for all us Bravo fans who love to analyze, deconstruct, and talk about our favorite Bravo shows ad nauseum. So join me, Bravo and Botox, and we'll catch up on all the Bravo news and read way too much into our favorite shows and Bravo celebrities. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bravo Papers, Bravo Weekly News, here with your host, Emily, and wishing all my listeners a happy Canada Day. Hope you are enjoying a day off and that you're not working and doing something enjoyable. Maybe catching some fireworks or chilling with the family or just lying around your house doing nothing, which in my opinion is the best way to spend a holiday for sure. All right, so let's get into some news here because I've got some news. And there's only so much time we can spend with family before we need to get away and have a Zen moment with headphones in, at least for me. Um, I joke. But let's go into what should we start with? Let's start with Next Gen NYC, which sleeper hit after sleeper hit from Bravo. It's like Love Hotel, Next Gen NYC. We didn't even think we would like The Valley. So I'm down with it. I'm loving how we're getting these shows that you just wouldn't have expected to be good, and they're great. So listen, no complaints from me. But Ariana Bierman was on Watch What Happens Live, and I don't even know, do I call her Bierman or I guess, or is she going to be Zolci? Like, I don't know. Okay. So Ariana was on Watch What Happens Live, and when asked about the status of her friendship with her and Riley, she said they are best friends now. Since rejoining the show and, finding each other again in New York City. And kind of that first like sit down that they had on the show, which we saw in like one of the first episodes, they have seen each other every single day and they see each other and talk every day since then. So Ariana says she's so grateful to have a best friend like Riley, etc. She also has not, which I love, by the way. I just want to put that out there that, these two reuniting is like, it's just, we all have such nostalgia for these shows, like the Housewives shows. And, we saw like Candy and Kim Zolciak's friendship. And no, I want nothing to do with those two being friends again because Kim is a psycho, and I actually like Candy. But, that had nothing to do with the kids, and the kids were always there. They were, innocent bystanders, that kind of thing. So I just love the idea that these two girls can kind of like look past their parents' drama. And also, it's like, it's such old news, and that they can like reunite and be friends again. I just love it. I love that they have like the Atlantic connection. They understand what it's like to be like a kid of a housewife. It's just all, I just love all of it. Okay. So, in terms of the whole Charlie situation, she was asked about, Ariana said she has not spoken to Charlie since the backlash from his conflict with Riley. So Andy's like, he's gotten a lot of backlash for that whole conversation with Riley. And have you spoken to him? Like, kind of how's he handling it? But Ariana says she basically doesn't know because she hasn't spoke to him and she feels the same way about him as she did when she first met him. So I guess that's kind of a spoiler in a way. Like, I don't know how things are going to unfold in the rest of the season, but in the most recent episode, she was kind of like, or not she, but he had kind of like decided that he liked her. But like, here's the thing, Charlie, guess what? Just because you've decided you like her doesn't mean that she has to like you. Like, and this is just so him. Like, he just like feels like he should have the control, and like he's like, the top dog and like the cool guy at the top of the pyramid in their friendship group. He's annoying. So then she also said that his comments were gross. And she also says, Ariana, sorry, that she was surprised by what Ava said about the fashion thing. And she said she didn't realize that they were going to be on the show doing mean girl behavior. So there you go. Okay. Yeah, it was pretty mean girl. It was definitely coming off like Ava, kind of is like, well, I'm like born and raised in New York and I'm like a true New Yorker and, I know real fashion. Like, who are you? Like, it very much had that vibe to it. Okay. Let's go to some Real Housewives of Atlanta news because Ariana was not alone on Watch What Happens Live. She had Phaedra there as well as another guest. And unlike Ariana, Phaedra answered questions with dishonesty rather than honesty, which is, I mean, pretty standard practice for Phaedra. But anyways, Phaedra says in response to the accusation that she's the one who hired the Marcus guy to like bring up the Angela's husband cheating rumor. Sorry, that was not the best sentence. But in response to that, so Andy's like, was it you? And Phaedra's like, make it make sense, Andy. Like, I don't understand that response, Phaedra. It's like, it does make sense. Like, she goes, make it make sense. That's her response. And then she goes into this whole diatribe about how there's just no way it was her, and there's no evidence and blah blah blah. And she says, it wasn't her. Why would she even be mad at Angela? She has nothing against her. She just met her on the Grenada trip. Well, before you'd even known her, you were making comments about her looking old, and you did kind of seem, I don't know, like sometimes it's not even about like having to know someone well. Like, you did just kind of seem like you had it out for her. Maybe there's a little bit of jealousy. I'm just saying. Like, I don't know over what. I really don't. But, maybe there's some jealousy or something like that going on. But I mean, there's a lot to be jealous of because Angela is fabulous, as we all know. But anyways, she says that, I have nothing against her. Listen, that doesn't prove anything, though, because Phaedra, you would go after somebody who, like, her and Candy, yes, they had a friendship fallout. So I'm not going to say, and Candy was talking some shit and she was soured on Phaedra, fine. But it wasn't anything, like, they had kind of like, they weren't friends anymore, etc. They had kind of gone on their way, right? It wasn't anything to the extreme of like what Phaedra did in response. That made no fucking sense. I'm sorry. Okay. So what Candy and her went through was so small in comparison to kind of what Phaedra did in retaliation. The punishment didn't fit the crime is what I'm trying to say. So it was insane. It was so ridiculous for Phaedra to take it to that level. So that's why I'm kind of like, well, Phaedra, you don't necessarily need, quote unquote, just cause to do something like this. Like, you have shown us that you would, and that you're still not really taking responsibility, which we'll get to that in a minute. She also says that Angela basically, accused everyone except Portia and Shamia. So, why does it land on like it's her 100%? Again, she's doing her Phaedra thing. She's spinning it. She's giving, these like kind of bullshit reasons as to why it's not her. There's much more evidence that it is you than that it's not you. And case in point, there is now leaked audio of Angela talking to this guy Marcus on the phone, where Angela straight up asks if Phaedra paid him. So he does say no. He says in the audio, I listened to it on the Bravo Shade Room Instagram. So you can go check it out if you want at the Bravo Shade Room. And He says, no, she didn't pay me, but he says basically it was just a messy gay moment. And he didn't think anything would come of it after the Williams-Sonoma event. So listen, I have to say, Angela plays it like brilliantly in this phone call. If you listen to it, it's worth going to listen to. So if you listen to it, like she's like, after he says Phaedra didn't pay him, Angela's like, oh, so you're being messy. Like she played, like she doesn't get mad. She doesn't like blow up. She doesn't get like, she kind of stays like friendly, even though a lot of people would have been like, what the fuck? She stays kind of like friendly and like almost like convinces him that she sort of understands, and that makes him spill more. Like she played this so beautifully. It was great to listen to. And she's like, oh, messy. And he's like, Angela, it was a messy gay moment. And I didn't even think anything would happen after the Williams-Sonoma event, right? So, yeah. So basically, this conversation has been leaked. Now it's on the internet. But again, like it proves that at the very least that this guy is saying that he was put up to it by Phaedra, right? And he even says, so then later in the phone call, he says that when he got to the Williams-Sonoma event, Phaedra walked into the event, she kissed him on the cheek, and she whispered something in his ear, but this was before she was mic'd. Of course it was. Phaedra knows how this works. Phaedra is smart. She's not an idiot. Okay. She's going to be slick about this, and she's going to make sure that she does her business before the mics are on. Sorry, I keep getting distracted because my cat like desperately wants to come in this room. He's like on the floor, sticking his paws in the crack between the door and the floor. He's like lying there. He's meowing. But I just can't, guys, if I let him in, he will walk all over the keyboard. He will fuck up this recording. So my apologies if I sound distracted at any point. Okay. It's hard. It's hard because he's such a little cutie and like I just feel bad. Ugh. Okay. So then Marcus also says Athens is a small town where everybody knows each other and protects everyone there. So that was interesting. And then Angela says kind of in response to that, she's like, oh, I know. Like she knows what's going on. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of like the receipts are there. We know this is what happened, and we're just going to have to watch Phaedra lie and deny as she often does. Okay. So next, let's talk about Portia's ex, Simon Gobadia, because he did an interview recently with Page Six. And in his interview, he says that he regrets marrying Portia. He believes he was targeted from day one for financial reasons. Simon says he was in a vulnerable place when Portia was in his DMs, praying for him during his divorce from Fallon. He also says, okay, so first let me just say that you may have been targeted, quote unquote, by Portia. And by that, I mean, she may have hit on you because she knew you had money. Okay. Because clearly it's not because you're like so hot or something like that. It's not just because you're like a hot guy with, a lot of charisma. Let's just be honest here. But you are not innocent either. Okay. Like he very much in this interview tries to paint himself like some like poor victim who's like just like an idiot with no brain who got manipulated by like the evil temptress woman. Like it's just so stupid. Like it's like you were bored with Fallon, you were ready to move on to the fifth wife. Like this is what you do. You like collect these wives and then you move along. You were ready for the next one. Portia was hot. She's on TV, all this stuff. Like you were like, she's willing. So am I. We like each other. Let's go. Like you were just as much a player in this situation and in this game as she was. So we're not doing this like victim narrative. Okay. And your money attracts women and you use it for that purpose. Okay. So stop it. Simon also says that he does not have a relationship with Portia's daughter. He claims that Portia was no exception when it came to using her child to get back into his life. So he says, quote, Portia sent me a text saying her daughter misses me. He says he ignored it because at that point, Portia realized that she had made a mistake and he was done. Yeah, I don't know. That just doesn't sound real to me. Like, I don't know why after you like being in ICE custody and like having all these legal issues, why she would be like, never mind, I made a mistake. Let's get back together. Like, no, I don't think so. I don't know what she was doing with the daughter thing. Listen, it may have been just her trying to get you to be amicable and to remember that like you did have some good times together and a relationship with her and her daughter. And like, you don't have to turn into a complete evil monster during this divorce. That was probably what it was. So I don't necessarily, or maybe her daughter really did miss you. I don't know. But I don't think it was that she was like trying to get you back. Like that's a bit of a reach. So Simon also says that Portia reached out to his children's mother and offered to pay his child support. So I had covered this on the news episode because, yeah, there was this recording of Portia in court, speaking about that she did pay his child support for one of his past wives who he has kids with who needed child support, and he's not able to pay it because he was in ICE custody, which, I thought was pretty nice of her to do. But he says it was not done in good faith. It was done to create a narrative in court or to the public that she paid Simon's child support. She made two $2,500 payments. I mean, whether it was done in good faith or not is kind of irrelevant. In my opinion, it was done. Like, it may have also helped her image in court, I guess, like he's trying to say, but somebody needed to pay to keep those children living, like, whatever their lifestyle is, to keep those children fed and to help this woman. So maybe just be grateful for that. I don't know. Okay. He's a real piece of work. He also says to Us Weekly that he is not backing down in their legal battle. He has no plans to let her benefit from what he calls decades of his hard work, which this is exactly what I expected, because he was ordered to pay whatever it was, $30,000 of spousal support or whatever to Portia recently. My first reaction when I saw this, because all these people were like, Portia's winning. I was like, no, like, yeah, she won legally, but he's not going to pay this. And he's also not in the US. So how are you going to enforce it? This man is not only going, like, clearly he's the ego. He doesn't think he owes her anything. He sees himself as a victim. He was used, like all this stuff. He's not going to pay anything unless he's like literally put in jail. And I just don't think that's going to happen. And he's in a different fucking country. So it's like, I don't know what we're going to do about that. What anyone's going to do about it. I think Portia, sorry, I'm getting my names mixed up. I think Portia is, she's on her own financially, which I think is fine. I think she's fine and she's doing okay for herself. So I don't think it matters, but I don't think she's going to see that money anytime soon. Okay. Meanwhile, Phaedra was on a different interview. I forgot to mention this one before, but she says, and this is what I'm talking about in reference to Portia has learned nothing from what happened on the show years ago with Candy, which is that she says that she was punished for something no one saw her do. Okay. Does it matter? Like Portia said at the reunion that you're the one who told her that Candy was going to like drug and rape her or whatever. And then you didn't deny it. Like she tried to talk her way around it, but it didn't work. So I don't know. Like I was like, I'm a victim because I was punished for something no one even saw me do. They don't necessarily have to see you do it. Like I don't have to watch someone like commit a crime necessarily for them to be convicted of said crime. And your bestie kind of sold you out. So I don't know what you're looking for here, Phaedra. Like this is like, you can tell like Phaedra does not feel sorry for doing that. She has no regret about doing that. I still to this day, her only regret is that She wasn't smarter about it. She got caught. But I still think to this day, she doesn't think she really did anything wrong. And she actually thinks that everyone's reaction is what was wrong. Like, I truly think that is how she feels. Okay, let's go to some Real Housewives of Orange County news because it is coming back soon and we are all very excited, especially obviously OC fans. We know that there's been a lot of rumors and like word on the street that this season is going to be very like everyone versus Katie. And it seems like Katie is going to be the, I don't know, villain of the season. So Emily did an interview recently and few tidbits of things that she said. So Emily says that Tamra is a villain on camera and she's a villain to your face, but you know what you're getting and she doesn't pretend to be someone she's not. She says, whereas Katie is a sort of like behind the scenes villain. So she says Katie does stuff off camera and then acts innocent to your face, and that just doesn't work for Emily. She doesn't like it. So yeah, so the narrative is already beginning. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have to, like, I don't know the details, which I'm glad I don't. I don't want to know them. I want to watch it on the season. But what I will say is that right now I'm Team Katie. Um, with knowing nothing. And I like Katie. I really enjoy Katie. So I am going to defend Katie. Okay. Unless, but I reserve the right to change my mind at any moment as soon as, you know, when the season starts, if she did something really bad, then I reserve the right to change my mind. But for now, you know, fuck these women, go Katie. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Emily also says that Gretchen was scared to confront Tamra when she came back this season as a friend of. So basically, she didn't want to do it. Like, she didn't want to confront her about anything. So, you know, Gretchen's been talking all sorts of tough on social media over the last couple years and, you know, talking about how much of like a liar and this, that, the other Tamra is. And then because of that, I feel like the audience was sort of like cheering on the idea of bringing her back. Like, because the idea was that she was going to come back and it was going to be like a Tamra takedown. But then, of course, she gets on the show and she wusses out. Okay, so now Emily said that Gretchen was too scared to confront her. And then Emily said she had to like kind of push her and like facilitate it, which appreciate that. I do appreciate that, Emily. Okay. As much as I give Emily and Gina so much shit, I think they do serve more purposes than maybe we always see. As you know, I think some of it might be a little more behind the scenes ish. But what I will say is that Emily said that Gretchen said to her, I don't think I have to, in response to like going to have a sit down with Tamra. And Emily was like, okay, then why are you here? And I was like, when I heard her say that, I was like, yes, exactly. Like, why are you here? If you're not like, this is the whole, you think people brought you back because they enjoy looking at your like poofy blonde hair and your latest plastic surgery fillers. No, we can see you and all your filters on social media. We're good. Gretchen, like you're not like that. I don't know what you think is going to happen. Okay? If you're coming back, you better go after the villain. You better make a name for yourself or you can run along like Alexis did. Okay. Let's go to some Real Housewives of New Jersey news. So, Teresa Giudice is addressing hanging up during an interview after the anchor on the interview asked her about her tax debt. So, I forgot to cover this last week, which was crazy. But basically, she went on this interview and it was like a local TV station and they were, you know, she went on to promote a show and, you know, it was a very light conversation. They're like, oh, are you going to come back to New Jersey? Tell us about your new show. And then all of a sudden, the guy, there's a man and a woman anchor. And all of a sudden, the guy is like, and I'm not even going to give his name because I feel like he was like trying to have a moment. So I'm like, I don't care. But anyways, he's like, so how is it that a family for years doesn't pay their taxes? Anyway, I will say the tone, his tone and the tone of the interview, it's a very quick turn. Like it's like, it really feels like it comes out of nowhere. Okay. Now, I see a lot of varying opinions on this. A lot of people loved it. Like, a lot of people are like, fuck her, pay your taxes, whatever. Um, Others who are like, well, she did her time, she's paid her. But I guess some people are saying that he's talking about maybe the newer tax issues with Louis. I don't know. So Teresa's response, and again, I took it as the original ones. I didn't think of it that way. It did feel like a him trying to have like a gotcha viral moment. Okay, now I have heard from other people though that who like kind of watch this station and know these anchors that that's kind of like what they do. So I don't know. But Teresa is addressing it now. She says basically that he was attacking her, and she says that she is trying to promote the show. So that's why she went on, and she's like, that's why I'm working, because I'm trying to pay my taxes and pay my debt off. And that's why I'm trying to promote my show to get, you know, to get money, basically. Right. So, and again, I think that's not like the worst response coming from Teresa. But another thing, some people are like, well, pay your taxes on time and like don't flaunt your lifestyle and da da da. And it's like, okay, I think that's true. And I also think it's true that the anchor was like trying to have a moment. Like two things can be true. Like pay your taxes on time, and that is your responsibility. And also, I think she thought she was going to do like a fun, light interview to promote a show, and she wasn't expecting like a sit down with like hard hitting questions about tax evasion. Though both of those things can be true. That's where I stand on it. Meanwhile, Joe Giudice, little Juicy Joe news for you here. Okay. Juicy Joe, like terrible person, but so entertaining. Like the money I would pay to have him back on, well, I wouldn't pay anything because I don't have money like that, but would just love him back on my TV. He was so entertaining. Like, again, I know he's a terrible person, but entertainment wise, 10 out of 10. Okay. So he posted a picture of himself and his daughters on Instagram. And he said, I'm Joe Giudice. I served my time and I've been deported from the US for nearly a decade. I was raised in Jersey. I'm a father of 4 amazing daughters, and I just want to be allowed to visit them again. President Trump, I respect you and I'm asking for a second chance. And then he tags Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr., hashtag pardon Joe Giudice, hashtag family matters, hashtag second chances, hashtag Trump 2024. Okay. Here's the thing though, Joe. You kind of support like Trump, which means you support deportations, which means you support, I guess, like immigrants who are quote unquote illegal or doing criminal activity being deported. So therefore, like you have to stay deported. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's a very like you can't, like I get he's like just sucking up to get back to get back in the country, but he is a Trump supporter as far as I've heard. So I don't know. It's just like I don't think this is going to work. I don't think, like, I understand. I think it's because he pardoned those other reality stars, the Christies or whatever, but they're like American, rich ass 1%er kind of people. So, Trump doesn't give a fuck about you. I'm sorry, Joe Giudice. He doesn't. You're not, I don't think this is going to work. Okay. And you do look like a hypocrite posting it as well, as many, many, many in the comments pointed out. Okay. Meanwhile, we have also some Melissa Gorga, Joe Gorga news. My God, it's like we're back in, 5 years ago. So Melissa Gorga and Joe are taking legal action after they say their ability to return to TV has been blocked by local red tape, according to allabouttherealhousewives.com. So basically, there is a new legal filing where Melissa and Joe are suing the county that they live in, who are kind of stalling on issuing them a permit. So they're trying to get a filming permit because Joe and Melissa are set to be on a special edition of Wife Swap, called Wife Swap, the Real Housewives edition. And I had heard that they were one of the couples that was going to be on. But now I guess like the area that they live in, of I believe it's Franklin Lakes, is stalling the issuance of the filming permit. So they claim that that the borough of Franklin Lakes has wrongfully delayed or withheld the necessary filming permit that would allow production to move forward at their home. So yeah, this was filed on June 6, 2025. So we will see what happens. We may not get to see the Gorgas on the Wife Swap edition. So when I first heard about this like housewives wife swap thing, I was like, meh, like, I don't know. It just didn't sound that appealing to me. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna see like what, like Joe Gorga living with like Emily Simpson and then like Shane living with Melissa, like wah wah. However, then when I found out they're trading with like regular people, I was like, okay, now I could watch. That actually sounds good. So, but they need to cast like good people. Like we need like entertaining people to cast. So, yeah, we shall see. We'll see how that goes. Okay, let's get to what else do we have? We have Valley news as per usual. First of all, Charlize Theron, who never thought I'd be mentioning Charlize Theron while talking about the Valley, but here we are. She was on Watch What Happens Live and was saying to Andy that she has been to Jack's Studio City, that they went in, they had drinks, etc. And basically what she says is that the drinks were, she believes, watered down. And everyone was like, ooh. Now, Jack's Studio City Instagram has responded and they said, incorrect. We most definitely do not water down our liquor. But they say, correct. The vibe was awesome. Correct. You need to come again and really do it. Because I guess in the interview, she said that the vibe was good. And she says that, they just went in for one drink. They didn't really go to have like a full like sit down experience. So that was kind of their reaction to that. So do I believe that Jax waters down the liquor in his bar? 1000%. But again, that was just according to Charlize's, one drink that so who knows, right? Who knows what the case was? Maybe the ice was melty. I don't know. Meanwhile, Zach and Jesse are getting into a little bit of social media feudness over some clips from the Valley after show. Which this is the only problem with filming their reunion so early, which I get they had to because of the babies that were coming. But, that being said, there's a lot of stuff on the after show that needs to be discussed. And I guess it's going to get discussed on social media instead. So basically, I didn't think what Zach says was even a big deal. Like what he said in this after show clip was so nothing. He just said that it was kind of like a lot, like sharing a room with Jesse because like he's like a busybody and like he's up at like 5 a.m. and he wants to like go for a jog and then he's like making coffee and he's cleaning and then he's doing this and he's doing he's doing 1,000 things before noon, whereas Zach needs to like get up slow and he doesn't want to do anything before noon. So they just have a very different, morning routine. Okay. We have like morning person versus not morning person, it seems like, right? So basically, Jesse commented, like somebody had posted the clip on Instagram and then Jesse commented and said, at Zach Wickham, I'm very disappointed in you. I gave you the big room. I didn't have a shower in my bathroom, so I shared my baggy undies with you guys. I brought you guys champagne in the morning, or maybe that was just to me. I'm sorry I like to get up, run, work out, have coffee, hit golf balls, clean, iron, email, run again, make blended margaritas, and shower before sunrise. LOL. I mean, I think this is just like a light online kind of shade. I don't think this is real. I think they are joking around because of the LOL again. But my God, that is a long list of shit that you're doing when you're getting up. Like I get it. I'm a morning person. I'm very productive when I get up. That is me at my best, is from when I get up till about like 1 o'clock, and then I fade, and the afternoon is the worst part of the day. No one talks about it. The afternoon fucking sucks. I hate the afternoon. Like from 2 to 5, I wish I could just sleep every day and not talk to anybody. I feel like garbage all that time of the day, and I don't want to do anything. Not like garbage, but I just don't have motivation. Is that just me? Is that like a thing? Maybe that's like a thing, like afternoon depression. I don't know. Yeah, I always feel down. I'm just like, it's not good. So then Zach says, at Jesse Lawley, gave me, I earned that big room. I'm very disappointed in you. I love how they're saying disappointed, like they're like each other's moms. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed, guys. Um, I specifically said I only like to be woken up to Bloody Marys, yet you accost me with champagne. You This is so stupid, but it's like kind of funny. Um, you also know when you iron my clothes that I like them hung up, not folded, yet you fold them anyways. Just try to do better next time and I can move on past these slides. This is cute. Like, I kind of like this. I kind of like this little like fake argument shade online because you know what? They probably see things in the after show that irk them or annoy them that aren't like a big deal, but they don't really get to say anything about them like at the reunion and stuff. So like this is their chance. I think this is good reality starring. I think they're killing it. Okay, let's go to, and what a surprising duo these two are. I didn't think they'd end up being friends, but here we are. All right, let's go to some housewives of Miami. Okay, because Larsa Pippen was on Watch What Happens Live with her new boyfriend, Jeff Kobe, not with him like he was in the audience supporting her. Andy asked, how's it going with you two? So they've been dating for about 7 months. They are definitely official. And when Andy asked, what did he ask? Oh, yeah, he asked if they will get married. And Larsa was like, yeah, I think we will. And the guy didn't say anything. He just sat there kind of like looking like, hee hee hee. But Andy always he's got to ask these questions that make everyone feel uncomfortable. But Larsa didn't say it right away. She like paused and they kind of looked at each other and then she said it. But Larsa, just slow down. Like she is such a relationship jumper. Like I guess she had a bit of a pause between this guy and Marcus, but also like, God, she really is one of those people that like just dives in like head first. She's like, I'm in love, I'm obsessed, we're getting married. Like, I feel like it was the same thing with Marcus. So let's just take a breath, stop for a second, and we'll see what happens. She knows how to attract a basketball player, that's for damn sure. Andy makes a joke about that. He's like, so you really have a type? And he's like, basketball players. And then she's like, really good looking guys, you mean? And he's like, well, yes, that too. So then what else did they talk about? Where was I? I'm sorry. Hang on. My file closed. Okay. She says she found her twin in him, thinks they'll get married. And then in response to the whole thing about her and Lisa, she says she just feels like Lisa is not a good friend to any of them, like the rest of the cast. Which, I mean, listen, I can kind of see that. I know a lot of people want to take Lisa's side in this case just because it's Larsa, right? So it's like, well, Larsa, you're also like self-involved and insufferable. So, it's one of those things where it's like, because it's her saying it, no one, like a lot of people don't want to hear it. However, this has been a storyline like pre-Larsa. Like this was last season, everyone was like, Lisa is insufferable. She's so self-involved. All she talks about is her and Lenny. She doesn't listen to anyone else's problems. She's not like a good friend. Like that was what the whole audience and everyone was saying last season. But now that it's Larsa saying it, it's like a lot of people seem to be forgetting that. And I'm like, yes, I understand. Like the messenger here is not great. But that being said, I don't think she's wrong. Like I do think that Lisa she's very man-centered and she is very self-involved. And I think it does seem like now that she's like got Jody, it's like now Jody is like the obsession. And Larsa does that too, but I think Larsa does like take the time to like put in the time when it comes to like her little clique. Like she's like a good friend to like the girls who she lets into her little, cliquey circle. Whereas Lisa, I think Lisa can be a little more like absent-minded about stuff. I don't know if it's malicious, but it seems like she's just really lives in like Lisa world, you know? Um, she says that it wouldn't have taken that much for Lisa to just unfollow him after Larsa told her it hurt her. She doesn't really care about Jody following him. It's more about that. Okay. I mean, yeah, I think it isn't that big of a deal to do that. But again, I do think that Lisa wants to please her man. And I think she wants to please her man more than anyone. So if Jody still wants to be friends with Marcus Jordan because he's Michael Jordan's son, then Lisa would put that above her friendship with Larsa. I really just think she's just that kind of girl. We all know those girls. We all have those girls as friends who will do something that might piss you off, but they don't want to upset their boyfriend because they're like so obsessed with their boyfriend. Like those girls are out there, and they exist to different levels, but Lisa's a pretty extreme level of it. So Lisa is also clapping back at the girls saying that, you know, Jody is her sugar baby. And Larsa saying that he is using her for her money, which I'm still confused by that because I thought Jody, like, I think Lisa has money, but I thought Jody had like more. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, whatever. I'm confused about that, but I guess maybe more will come out and time will tell. But Lisa is clapping back because she posted a like Instagram story video of her and Jody in Paris and at a restaurant. And she's like, here I am in Paris with Jody. And she's like, my sugar baby, I took my sugar baby to Paris, or sarcastically. And she's like, and then she goes, my sugar baby flew me, and he even flew me business class. What a good sugar baby. Da da da. So obviously they are bothered by that, which I understand that. I would be bothered by that too. And last, Kiki was also on Watch What Happens Live with Larsa, and she was asked about her beef with Melissa Gorga. And Kiki was like, do I have beef with her? Okay. So if you remember at the Bravo Miami Fan Fest, they were asked like kind of these shady questions because that's Andy's MO. And one of them was, who do they think buys Instagram followers? Like which housewives buy Instagram followers? And Kiki was like, oh, that New Jersey one. What's her name? And they were like, Teresa. And she's like, no, the other one. And they were like, Melissa. She's like, yes, I think Melissa Gorga. She's like, how does she have over 2 million or something like that? Which, yeah, like, I think everybody thinks that. Like, why do you have 2 point something million? I don't know. There are housewives that I believe would have that many followers, but Melissa, like, if I made a list of the 10 who I could believe could get to 2 million, like, Melissa wouldn't be on that list. I'm just saying. Okay. Anyways, so Kiki said that in basically what I just said, and everyone laughed. And Kiki said, listen, I'm not like confrontational and dramatic. She said if I was at an event and Melissa was there, I would go up to her and talk about it. Like no big deal, which I do. I think they would laugh it off and it would be fine. And then Andy was like, well, everyone join us November, whatever, for, BravoCon. We're the two. So, Andy's setting up one of those like squash that beef segments at BravoCon, which I think they will squash it. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. All right. We've got a little bit of Summer House news, actually, because Imral was on the Bravo We're Black podcast. Shout out to them. Great podcast. Check it out. And said that he was annoyed by some of the things that were cut out on his season of Summer House. So, for example, there was this dinner scene and fans have noticed, like it has been noted that he was cut out, right? It was the dinner where West talks about the anniversary of his friend who died. And, there was like that emotional moment. And, Imral was there. And you just don't see him. Like he was totally cut out of it. But then there was also pictures of filming that like somebody who was at the restaurant had like taken pictures on their cell phone. And clearly you can see like Imral and other people in the cast were there. Anyways, so Imral said he was kind of, hurt that some stuff was cut out because that dinner scene is where he discussed the English school that he's opening. And he was getting the cast involved. They were talking about like supporting him, doing like a charity event, like all this stuff. And he said that was like a really you know, that was a conversation that he really had wanted them to keep in and was hoping it would be there. And not only was it not shown, he was like completely cut out of that dinner and he was there. So yeah, he also said that there was a conversation, I think it was also at that dinner, but either way, it was with Carl about how this was after he got kind of, reprimanded by Paige and Sierra about bringing people back to the house, which again, he says was not that big of a deal. But he says he had a kind of a funny conversation with Carl where he talked about how he did, regret bringing people back too much. And he wanted to like bond more with the house. And him and Carl like talked about it. And he said it was, those conversations would have shown like a more dynamic side of him. So he does wish that that stuff was left in. And I agree with him, and I think that's kind of part of the reason that sometimes we have people who could thrive more, but then they're given these like weird edits that just, I guess they think are going to be what we want and what entertainment value they think that's where the entertainment value is, but it's just not. Okay. Meanwhile, last, we are going to end with, oh no, not last, second last. We are going to talk about some Southern Charm news because Craig Conover was on the Toast podcast, who, by the way, he does have like a friendship association with because they are in business together with Spritz. Like I believe one of their husbands and them as well owns Spritz. And, Craig is obviously, a sponsor or whatever his role is. I don't even know. He does sponsored posts, etc. I don't fucking know if he actually is like investing in it. Maybe he is. But either way, he was on the podcast and he said, he's bummed out by people saying that he didn't buy the ring and that he did buy the ring. And then he pulls up a picture on his phone that he took of an engagement ring and it matches the description of what he said. Now, some people are like, oh, proof. Other people are like, anyone can like Google a picture of the engagement ring and save it on their phone. Like it's not proof. That's why I just hate this whole discussion because it's stupid and it's stupid on both sides. I'm sorry. Because I think whether he bought the ring or not, like who cares? First of all, even if he bought it, it doesn't make him more of a victim. It doesn't make Paige more of a victim. It doesn't make either of them more of a villain either. It's just what happens in life. Sometimes people think they're going to propose and then the relationship goes sour and they break up. Sometimes people break up when they're engaged. Like, I don't think like, I guess people are like, it's a gotcha moment of like, it proves Craig is a liar. But again, it's not because there's no proof that he didn't or did buy it. And again, showing the ring picture is also stupid because you can't, like nowadays, then you have people who are like, well, this is AI generated or he just Googled this. Even if he brought a fucking ring with him and showed it on his Instagram live or something, people would be like, he bought that from the dollar store and just like, so that's why there's just no point in this. Can we just put this stupid, annoying conversation to rest? That's what I would like. Okay. Last news. The Mom Talk reunion happened. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives had their reunion. And it was revealed that Whitney and Jen are going to be on the next season of Dancing with the Stars. Okay. Now, I have not watched the reunion yet, but I'm gonna. So it just came out. I am going to watch it. I think it's not getting a lot of attention on social media. Like I've barely seen much of it on my feeds on Twitter or Instagram for that matter. But I think it's just the timing. I think the timing of this was terrible. I think if anything, what they should have been doing was they should release the next 10 episodes, which come out in September or whatever. They should literally film it like the day after those get released and then be ready to air it like a day or two later. Like that's the timing that you need while everyone cares and it's fresh in everyone's head. Now it's like summer, like people are less online, people are less plugged in. We've had some time, the show has passed. There's already been like, interviews with the cast and they've been going back and forth online. Like, I just think the timing of this is such a fumble. Some people said that Nick Viall's hosting was condescending. So there's been some people said it was okay, but from what I've seen, the reaction I have seen, it doesn't seem like anyone's been blown away. But stay tuned because I will watch it and give my thoughts coming soon to a theater near you. No, I don't know where I'm going to do them. Maybe just a Twitter roundup, maybe a bonus Patreon episode, not sure yet, but I'll let you know as soon as I figure that out. I'm going to watch it and see if it's worth even doing an episode on, because if it's not and it's just like a lot of the same stuff, then I won't bother, but we'll see. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today and for supporting the podcast and for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Let me know your comments in the comments, and love you all. Thank you so much for joining me, and you are now in the know for everything Bravo. See you next time. Bye. Thanks for listening, everyone. Your support really means everything to me, and this show wouldn't be possible without you, the listeners. So please, if you enjoy the podcast, leave a 5-star rating and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. For more, you can join my Patreon, patreon.com/BravoandBotox. And for $5 a month, you'll get 4 extra podcast episodes a month. You'll also get early releases of Bravo Paper episodes and more. Please also subscribe to my YouTube channel at The Bravo Papers and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at Bravo and Botox, and at The Bravo Papers. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, you can at buymeacoffee.com/Bravo and Botox. Send your love through some much needed caffeine. And any guest that was on today's episode will be in the show notes, all their social media and contact information. So thank you so much, everyone. Keep overanalyzing Bravo.